Hey, this is Mark Schwartzman, MTC Media, with your latest episode of So Long Tobacco Road. We are to the time of the year where specific games have importance, whether it impacts getting a tournament bid, where you're seated, or where you are within the ACC, whether it's regular season, whether it's in the ACC tournament, what your seating is. We're going to start off with North Carolina traveling to Charlottesville to play Virginia. All eyes are going to be there because this is a huge game when it comes to who's going to win the ACC. North Carolina and Duke are currently tied. Virginia is only 2 games behind in third place, and they get to play both. They play North Carolina here on Saturday, and then they play Duke in Durham next week. If you are into these things, North Carolina is a 2.5 point favorite. So as much as we concentrate on Virginia's defense, I think this is one of those flip-flop games in the sense of, for Virginia, the most important thing is going to be for their offense. And for North Carolina, the most important thing is going to be their defense, as Hubert Davis has kind of changed the focus on what North Carolina is this year. They do try to be more defensively forward. They still play fast, but they don't play as fast. Playing with a traditional point guard, or what we think of as a traditional point guard in this, in this day and age. For Virginia, the offense was embarrassing in their 75-41 loss against Virginia Tech. And you can tie 2 things together. If Virginia can turn over Elliot Cadeau or force North Carolina to use R.J. Davis as the primary ball handler for long stretches, that plays in Virginia's favor. If they can't do that, North Carolina probably will win this game. For Carolina, Virginia is one of the worst 2-point shooting teams in the country. They're also one of the worst offensive rebounding teams in the country. For North Carolina, defensively is don't foul. Run McNeely off of the 3-point line. Make either Groves or Rhodey do something. And then don't foul. Don't let Virginia get to the free throw line. And then that plays into North Carolina's strengths because they're going to have more possessions, and their offense is better when you talk about guys like Cadeau and R.J. Davis and obviously Armando Bacot and those guys. So those are the keys. Like I said, it's a flip-flop game. For the key for Virginia is their offense, and the key for North Carolina is their defense. The other big game today in the ACC is Duke at Wake Forest. Again, Duke is tied for first place. This is a game that, shockingly to me, when you look at the line, Wake Forest is favored by 1.5 points. I'm still trying to figure that out, whether they're playing at home or not. The Blue Devils have been the hottest team in the ACC. They've won 5 in a row. They are currently a 3 seed with Lunardi. So for Wake Forest, it's almost like what might have been. There was a game last week, with Virginia, where they certainly had a chance to win one on the road, and they didn't. There was a game at Duke that they didn't win, that they certainly, going down the stretch, had a chance to win. If they win even one of those 2, the narrative is a little bit different. Now, they did do what they needed to do when they came back home after the Virginia loss. They did go and they crushed Pitt, and that certainly helped. But again, Duke is the hottest team in the ACC. Wake needs a home win like no one's business, and I know Forbes says he hates this whole thing with quad wins and net wins and all those sort of things. But yeah, this is a win that Wake Forest needs because who they're playing, obviously, it will be a quad 1 win. And yes, Coach Forbes, that does count. Thank you for joining us for our latest episode of So Long Tobacco Road.